Hey y'all, welcome back to Talks with Crissy J. I am your host, Crissy J. Today we are going to be diving into a topic that has been very heavy on my heart. It's something that I know a lot of women out there are feeling and navigating through, including myself. So we're going to be talking about femininity, how we can tap into it, nurture it, and embody it even when we feel like we're forced into a more masculine role. Because, some men just aren't stepping up as men. And I know I hit a nerve already, but we're definitely going to unpack it. Now, when I talk about femininity, I'm not talking about looking pretty or wearing dresses, playing in makeup, all of the feminine things. It's just so much deeper than that. I'm talking about embracing our natural energy as women, the softness, our nurturing side, the emotional intelligence, our women intuition, and that quiet strength that we all have inside of us. But how many of us have been in situations where we've had to lead, had to carry the weight, where we had to tap into that more masculine energy just to keep everything together? Now, look, I get it. I've been there, I've done that, and it can be very, very exhausting, extremely exhausting. And I see and I hear about so many women out here trying to just balance it all. And it's because we're having to fill in the gaps where men just quite frankly are not doing their part. But I want to talk to you about how we can start shifting that dynamic for us. Because sis, I'm here to tell you, you deserve to live in your femininity. You deserve to lean into your softer side without feeling like you've got to be the man and the woman in the room. Now let's break down understanding the energy. We all have both feminine and masculine energy inside of us, right? Our masculine energy is like that go-getter, hustler mentality, get things done, take charge kind of vibe. Our feminine energy is more about like a flow, it's nurturing, it's soft, it's creating and receiving. But a lot of us have had to lead with our masculine energy because society or our circumstances have conditioned us to do so. So maybe it's because you're like the head of the household. Maybe you've been disappointed by men in your life, whether it's your father, it's your brother, boyfriend, husband, whoever. They just weren't stepping up for you as they should. And it, has taken a toll and has forced you into that masculine role. I really honestly don't think that as women, we want to be that alpha male all the time. You know what I'm saying? That's just not our place. I feel like we've been groomed, so to speak, to take on that role. And so it just becomes like a second nature type of thing for us. But we gotta do something about it, sis. Now, while there's nothing wrong with having that masculine side, constantly living in it can take a toll and it leads to burnout. You feel like you're like always in survival mode. You're always handling all the business. You're making all the decisions. You're being strong for everyone around you and having to be strong for you. But the truth is, we are not meant to be in that space all the time as women. God created us to be women for a reason. There's power in our femininity and we've lost touch with it. And it's time for us to reclaim that. Now, how do we shift the dynamic? I know you're probably thinking, Crissy, how do I even begin to shift the dynamic? How can I start to live in my feminine energy when I feel like I don't even have a choice but to handle things? Well, the first step is recognizing that you do have a choice. You can start by setting boundaries. I tell my clients this all the time in my sessions. Your boundaries, have them, okay? Have boundaries. If you do not have boundaries, implement boundaries for yourself. Boundaries are very, very important with all aspects of life. It teaches people, so to speak, how to be in your life the way you need them to be in your life. And if they cannot mount up to your boundaries, if they can't respect those boundaries, then they just don't need to exist in your space. You know what I'm saying? Your boundaries are your protection of your peace, of your sanity. So we all need to have boundaries. And at one point in time, I was one that was just maneuvering through life with no boundaries. And I kept wondering, like, why is this happening? Why is such and such treating me this way? Why is my relationship with such and such like this? Like, why is this situation so toxic? You know, and I just kept questioning everything in my life. Everyone and everything was questionable to me at one point in time. And I had to sit back and think and reflect and say, girl, you don't have no boundaries. You are not putting boundaries in place for people to even respect. You're allowing people to come to you as they well please, treat you however they well please, and it makes you feel away. But when you have these boundaries in place, you set the tone for the relationship. And if, like I said, they can't meet those boundaries or respect them, out. Like, we don't have time for it, right? Because it's only going to disturb your peace in the long run. Sometimes we're stepping into that masculine role because we've been taking on the responsibilities that aren't even ours to carry to begin with, but we've been conditioned to fix it, you know, like to do it all. But we're not super women, and it's not cool to be, you know what I'm saying? Like, and we don't have to be. It's okay to delegate. It's okay to ask for help. And it's more than okay to expect the men in your life to step up and do their part. Now, okay, we're going to get into communication and expectations, because that is a very big thing, especially when, like I said, you've been groomed or used to being in your masculine energy for so long. So let's say one relationship you were in, you were kind of like the head of the household, the decision maker, the superwoman, the masculine and feminine energy in the room. And now you're no longer in that relationship, but because you've been in that role for so long, you don't even realize that you're still in that role. And so you get into a new relationship, and now you're grooming that man to kind of have a back seat and let you just lead, right? And then we get frustrated. We as women get frustrated because we're just expecting them to know, like, hey, you see me doing this, you see me doing that, like, but at the end of the day, they're not mind readers. So we're going to jump into communication and expectations. Communicating your expectations is a very important part. It's key. You have to communicate your needs and your expectations to whoever it is that you need to communicate them to. A lot of times men don't step up because we don't require them to. We're so used to doing it all ourselves that we don't even give them that space or opportunity or responsibility to carry, to lead us, right? And I'm not just saying that it's all on us, but we do play a vital role in the dynamic. So when you let a man know what you need from him, whether that's emotional support, financial, helping out with the kids, contributing to the household, whatever, you create an opportunity to allow him to show up. Now, I'm going to share a little secret with y'all. Here's the thing. When you communicate, you don't do it from a place of anger or resentment. And I know that it's hard, especially when we've been holding it down on our own for so long. I have been hurt. I have communicated in that space, and it never works out for the best at all. It always just makes matters worse. So when you communicate from your feminine energy, it looks slightly different. It's softer, it's more open, but it's still firm. It still has that boundary there where it's like, okay, hold on, she's serious. I have to take her serious right now. She's not playing. But at the same time, she's being very respectful. So it's still coming off in a way where you're giving him his headship. You're making him still feel like the man, but you're just letting him know what you need from him, right? And it's just the way that we deliver. And so you would say things like, I need you to help me with this, rather than, why don't you ever do this? You see the difference? One invites cooperation and the other one pushes them away. And we all know the saying, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. That is key, y'all. Like, I can say the same thing she's saying. We can want the same exact outcome. But if I say it in my feminine energy, soft, welcoming, inviting, like, hey, babe, I need you to help me with this, versus, don't you see me doing this? Like, I don't understand why I have to ask you to do this. Like, common sense, you should blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? It's not going to be received well, and then it can go just in the fiery pits of hell. And we just don't want it to go there because you're already under enough frustration, but we want to push that frustration to the back end for now and just focus on communicating to get what we need out of him, right? And so that's the way that we have to communicate. When you communicate from your feminine energy and you're soft and you're gentle and you're inviting, it makes a man want to do for you, because at the end of the day, it's in their genetic makeup to provide. Now, whether all men provide or not, like I said, a lot of men have been groomed to not provide. There's a lot of women out here who enjoy taking care of a man, or have such an insecurity that they feel that that's the only way that they can hold on or keep a man or even get a man is by putting themselves out there to be the provider of him. And that's not a good place to be, because even that creates burnout down the road, because at some point in time you're going to realize, I've been doing this, I've been doing that, and I deserve a little bit of what I've been giving. Like, I deserve to have a backseat. I deserve to be a passenger princess. I deserve to be taken care of. I deserve a day off. You get what I'm saying? So it might be okay for the beginning, but in the long haul, sis is gonna burn out. And so we need to set those boundaries ahead of time, and don't feel like you're not worthy of, because who's for you is who's for you, and God is always going to bring you who is for you. You know what I mean? So you just pray on it, do your part, and God will make a way. Now, how do we nurture our feminine side? Aside from the men, this journey is really all about you. How can you start nurturing your feminine side today, regardless of what the men around you are doing? And it honestly starts with self-care. You have got to take the time to reconnect with yourself and do what makes you feel good, what makes you feel like a woman. And that can be anything from journaling, spending time in nature, dancing, singing, pampering yourself, or even just taking a long bath. You deserve to do things that make you feel beautiful and at peace. So take the time to be still, listen to your intuition, and trust it. Your feminine energy is always guiding you, but sometimes it's drowned out by the noise of life. So, as we wrap up this episode, I do want you to remember one thing, if nothing else. You have the power to embrace your femininity, even when life tries to force you into your masculine space. It starts with making a decision. Decide that you're worthy of softness, you're worthy of peace, you're worthy of living in your natural essence. You do not have to do it all. You don't have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. So, take back your power by setting your boundaries, communicating your needs, and most importantly, taking care of yourself. My grandmother used to always say, whenever you would depart her, be good to yourself. And being young, I never really paid attention, to those words. I just was so used to her saying it. But now that I'm older and I'm going through things and, just life, health issues from time to time and things like that, I really resonate with being good to yourself. It is so vital in every aspect of our life. We have to be good to ourselves. If we're not good to ourselves, who else is going to be? If you're not good to yourself, why would anyone else think to be good to you? Like, okay, well, she doesn't even respect herself, or she's not even taking care of herself, so what am I going to come in here and do? You have to be good to yourself, okay? Femininity is about receiving as much as it is about giving. And when you start to live in that space, you'll notice how much more aligned, how much more joyful, and how much more at peace you're going to feel. All right, y'all. So that is it for today's talk with Crissy J. I hope that this episode resonated with some of you. And if it did, make sure that you drop a comment below. I would love to hear from you guys. And I want to keep the conversation going. So let me know, like, how are you embracing your feminine energy? What changes are you making? I'm so excited to hear from you guys in the comment section. Until next time, keep those vibes high and take care of yourself. Much love.